So there you heard Prime Minister Modi addressing that grand crowd gathered at the culmination of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which marks 75 years of India's independence, and also the end of the Meri Mati Mera Desh campaign, which saw these people coming from different corners of the country, bringing with them an earthen pot filled with soil and rice, which has been collected and which will be a part of a memorial that will come up, and a lot of other initiatives have also been taken. The PM repeatedly mentioned My Bharat, Mera Youth, My Youth Bharat portal as well, which will be a platform for the youth to come together, and he said it will play a key role in the coming days as well. So a lot of activities that were going on for over a year, really building up to this campaign, Meri Mati Mera Desh campaign, has now culminated, and it will be taken forward with the youth of the country, with the My Bharat portal, the platform where the youth will be contributing. They will also get a lot of guidance as well in terms of how they can further take up this pledge that they have all taken. Every youth member of youth, every delegate who's come, every person who's carried these earthen pots, they've taken this Panch Pran, 5 pledges they've taken. Key to them is to ensure that by 2047, India will be a developed nation. They're all about working hard, working with integrity, working with intent, working with purpose to ensure that India gets to that elevated position by 2047. The PM made key mention of several initiatives that his government has taken, even in the period where this entire campaign has been on. And he mentioned that during this campaign itself, India became the 5th largest economy in the world. It set new records as far as agricultural output is concerned. It got its first rapid train as well. There was a PM Gati Shakti master plan as well that has been launched during this period. And it has also put together this Kartavya Path where this pledge has been taken. And Yuva Bharat Sangathan, Mera Yuva Bharat Sangathan, it's being referred to as a Sangathan, as a collective of people. It's a platform portal as well. So it will harness the digital technology to ensure that the youth of the country come together with that unified goal of ensuring that India becomes a developed nation by 2047. Let me now bring in our guest, senior journalist Shekhar Aiyar, with us, joining us this evening. Shekhar, you heard Prime Minister Modi. You saw the kind of congregation that we had, the sense of purpose that all these people coming in from different parts of the country had as far as this campaign, this call was concerned for the nation. How do you think this will translate into ensuring that India will become a developed nation by 2047?
Indeed, Gautam, we witnessed a very, very historic occasion today. There was strong symbolism. There was a strong message cutting across various states, various strata of our society to unite for a greater cause. And the cause is to build India that will be known as one of the most progressive, most developed country by 2047. And if the symbolism that you saw by way of Amrit Kalash, the soil being collected from different parts of the country, was intended to convey the message that this land which has seen several historical ups and downs in its long thousands of years of traverse through several era. So what we saw today is an attempt to connect the past and the future by resolving to do best for ourselves. And the manner in which the Prime Minister today sought to invoke the youth spirit in all of us, not just the youth themselves, by urging them to join in a new campaign, a fresh campaign, through a new setup called My Government, My Youth. And that kind of thing, I think, the Prime Minister has unceasingly been using this Amrit Kal, that is the celebration of 75 years of our independence, for us to resolve as individuals, as collective, to do something that we can all be proud of, contributing to the making of this great nation. Gautam.
Yes, and the means that have been used, the symbolism you mentioned, there's earth, there's rice as well, and how it brings together even the strength, the innate strength of the country in terms of its youth and its farmers. That is also something that is quite visionary, isn't it?
Definitely, Gautam. What the Prime Minister has been emphasizing, and we saw it today also, that there is so much of untapped energy of youth. Youth who is looking for an opportunity, who is looking for a new, I would say, a new path that can, enhance her contribution to this country. Because a lot of idealism is there in our youth. And that idealism has to be tapped for the cause. And the cause that the Prime Minister mentioned today, the pledges that were taken. And those pledges also show that what is possible, the kind of potential that is there before us. How do we work towards realizing that potential? Because one thing is clear, Gautam, Prime Minister has always meant business. Whatever he says, whatever he does, he ensures that it is resolved to bring to fruition. That is why the Prime Minister today said, look, we have seen so many things happening in this one Amrit Kal itself. India's landing on moon, India's achievements in the sport field, India's achievements in several sectors of economy, and the kind of potential that India has unleashed in various areas and by our own people, and the campaign of Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is all intended not just as something that a government program, rather this is intended as a mass movement. That is exactly what you are seeing today. If you recall the speech he gave at the Statue of Unity in Kevadia and this speech today, I think after the August 15th address from the Red Fort, today's speech is actually setting forth very clearly what is the path ahead, what are our goals, how do we strive for it, how do we take everyone along. That is the thrust of the Prime Minister in today's address.
And in terms of how he sees the road ahead as well, how does that become clear? Because when you look at what's happening around you, there are a lot of impediments that one sees as well, especially when you look at the global situation, the geopolitical situation with wars now raging, not just between Russia and Ukraine, also Israel and Hamas. Even domestically, there are challenges. On every front, price rise still remains a challenge. But the PM has a vision to overcome these challenges as well, doesn't he?
Definitely, Gautam. Today, India is seen as an island of hope. All around you, there is so much of toxicity, so much of negativity, and so much of strife, and so much of blind, path towards struggle, and struggle against what, and struggle for what. That confusion that you see in all the trouble spots you mentioned. And if you compare that with today, the way we overcame COVID, Prime Minister mentioned it today, the way we ensured world's largest, rather mass immunization for COVID, and you also saw the world's largest food program, where month after month, more than 80 crore families were taken care of, and they continue to be taken care of. If you look at the way we have overcome these challenges, it's not a joke. It's not so easy. Yet we did it. The fact that we did it, and we also faced external threats. We also saw some internal strife. But in spite of all that, we are marching forward. Today, the world acknowledges that India is the future. Future is India. That is why you find all the countries, particularly the so-called developed ones, are eager to engage with us because they see a potential in us which even many of us are refusing to see. That is why the Prime Minister's call is shun the negativity, shun your doubts, shun your pessimism, shun your doubts. Rather, move forward with confidence. And we have to do it as a collective. We have to do it as an individual. That is only possible if you trust in yourself, if you know your capabilities, you work toward developing those capabilities. That is why today's call, today's launch of a new program to involve the youth is specifically for this, to tap this potential, to tap the skills of our youth, and to enhance those skills. That is why Prime Minister today said, look, when you combine that with an idealism, the idealism to make India great an idealism, infused with the youth spirit definitely brings results. That is the way forward. That is why Prime Minister realizes the potential of crores of our youth who are looking forward to make their contribution, who feel pride themselves. That is the spirit when you see in today in sport arena, when you see people from very difficult background going to compete in world championships and returning home with all of medals. At this time itself, as Prime Minister pointed out, we won 200 medals. It's a record by itself, and so many gold medals. I mean, winning a medal is in itself a symbol of what has happened to our potential. There was a time many of us used to often lament, why isn't that we are not doing things correctly? Why is it that we are not tapping into our potential? Why is it that we are not striving towards our excellence? No, those questions are answered today. Today in every sector, the government is ensuring that there is a positive incentive to do things better, a positive incentive to innovate, a positive incentive to transform. Now, actually, these are not plain words. If you look at every program that the government has been holding in the last few days, they all point to this direction. Now, government wants to be an engine, but at the same time, it wants all its grand schemes, all its flagship programs to be a mass movement. And the sight you saw today, on the lawns of India Gate and the Vijay Chowk and elsewhere, that the crowd, that the enthusiasm you are seeing, Gautam, you cannot see such enthusiasm in any part of the world today. And enthusiasm for their country, without not even iota of doubt as to whether we can achieve this. So that is the message of today's Amrit Kal Mahotsav, which has come to a conclusion, and with that there is a launch of a new program. And this is going to go on. This saga will continue, Gautam.
Yes, and the fact that India is making a lot of efforts in this period also to shun its colonial legacy, to do away with those symbols that have hung over our heads for a long time, remnants of things that remind us of our colonial history as well. We don't want to forget it, but we don't want those things to be monumentalized as well, which is also something which has been happening now, and it is something that will perhaps be even more frequent in the coming days as well, to ensure that we have a clean slate and look forward to progress on that front as well.
Definitely, Gautam, it was necessary that some of those hangovers from the colonial era were bid goodbye. That is the reason why when there is a change of name, many people think what is there in a name? It's anyway people know by the old name, but by changing name of some places, a message is being given. Today, if the Janpath is known as Kartavya Path, I mean, the very name itself, invokes a feeling.
Rajpath.
Rajpath has been made into Kartavya Path. That means, it immediately entails a sense of duty, Kartavya. So, therefore, everything that has, undergone change today, including our new parliament building, it reflects new thinking. A new thinking that is anchored in the past, a new thinking that draws strength from the tradition, a new thinking that wishes to take forward our past achievements to the future and meet the future challenges. So there is a message, there is a medium to convey this message, and also to see that all the citizens, each one of us, are somehow involved in this great saga, in this great journey. Because Prime Minister is very keen that these programs don't remain just as a government program. Because that is not the idea with which Prime Minister, from day one when he addressed from the Red Fort in August 2014, every call that he has given, whether it is Swachh Bharat campaign, or whether it is Jal Jeevan Mission, or whether it is Amrit Sarovar, to create new water bodies to overcome water crisis in different parts of the country. Each of this message and his appeal in Man Ki Baat also, you can see that the Prime Minister always is very keen that it is not Sarkari event. It is rather one that will see that there is a mass participation. Because only with mass participation, you can see a mass change. Otherwise, it will remain a government program. And Prime Minister is not keen. There may be a government function to herald this movement, but Prime Minister is very keen, people are involved. And we have seen that so in every aspect of everything that we have seen to mark Amrit Kal. Prime Minister has ensured that symbolically as well as intrinsically there is involvement of the masses.
Okay. One essential requirement for any nation to progress, to move forward is, how secure it is, not just on its borders from its external enemies, but also people within their homes from terrorism, from criminals, from people who are corrupt. To what extent do you think India has made progress on that front, especially in the last, nearly 9-10 years? To what extent is that contributing in this rise that we're seeing of India?
Gautam, whether it comes to external threat or internal disruption, you can see there is zero tolerance today. There are no excuses. If there are lapses, they are attended to, they are investigated, and things are improved to see that such incidents are not repeated. And you have seen the way our security forces have been encouraged, have been given a lot of resources to see that they are best equipped, they are modernized, and they can face modern challenges. That is why I said, when it comes to internal security, we have seen the speed in which our investigative agencies, our security agencies, they constantly keep vigil as to the threats that are being posed by some forces. And these forces, who sometimes act at the behest of those people who are inimical to our growth and progress. This challenge will remain. But at the same time, the government is conscious. This challenge has to be met because the whole idea is to disrupt our growth story. They cannot stand India's success. So that is why Prime Minister, even today, when he was addressing from the Statue of Unity at Kevadia, he cautioned all of us to realize the dangers that are there. Even as we move forward, there will be forces which will try to pull us down. And there will be forces which are still filled with negativism. There will be people who will not be happy that we are indeed, making strides. But we'll have to be on vigil. We'll have to see that they don't succeed. And that is only possible if we act with integrity, we act with a sense of purpose, we act with a sense of dedication. That is what the Prime Minister, has been emphasizing. And we saw it saying today, he says, look, there is so much we can do, that's so much that each one of us can do. Let us dedicate ourselves. If you saw today the pledge being undertaken, Panch Pran, that is, idea is to see, so that we keep reminding ourselves. And in the essence of this Panch Pran is to realize the strength that our tradition gives us, to look at our heritage, the heritage that has been bequeathed to us as most valuable thing, and look forward, take guidance, and see that we also create a place for our future generations to come. And that is why the role of the youth, the role of mass movement, the role of women, these are all very important dimensions which the Prime Minister has today, drawn our attention to and wants us to focus at it and see that we work towards our goal. We have to remember the goal, because these are not empty words. These are not some, a political discourse, but these are real things. These are meant for the country. No party politics is involved in this. All that is a requirement that people get committed to the task. And that is the Prime Minister's purpose in coming to this function and bringing it to a close. At the same time, look at the very concept of Amrit Kalash Vatika, a beautiful garden, a garden that will have flora brought from different parts of the country, and the soil that has also come from different parts of the country. So anybody who comes here, like any national monument, this is going to be a living, breathing monument that will serve as a source of inspiration. Gautam.
Certainly. And we will look forward to India making rapid progress towards that goal of becoming a developed nation by 2047 as well. The path has already been charted out. It's just that everybody needs to pull together in that direction to ensure that it happens. Shekhar Aiyar, thank you so much for joining us and talking about it today. So that brings to an end this special broadcast related to Meri Mati Mera Desh, the campaign that was taken forward with so many youth joining in Prime Minister Modi in the central vista of the national capital, and to ensure that India has a crescendo which not only marks the end of the festivities related to the kind of event that took place in 1947, is now over 75 years old, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, but it's taken forward as well to making India a developed nation by 2047. For all latest updates, keep watching DD India.